Clock. It's 8:30. Are we okay? All right, we're gonna start. Welcome to the January 24th, 2025 meeting of the Tennessee Public Charter School Commission. A link to view this meeting has been provided on the commission's website. Hayden, can you please take a roll?
Commissioner Carter,
Here.
Commissioner Griscom,
Here.
Commissioner Levine, absent, Commissioner Patterson,
Here.
Commissioner Eddie Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Lauren Smith, absent, Commissioner Tudor. Here. Chair Richards.
I'm here.
Madam Chair, you have 6 members present again.
All right. Thank you, Hayden. I do want to note that Commissioner Lauren Smith and Commissioner Levine previously notified me of their absences and may have been excused. I also want to note, and this is with some personal sadness, that Commissioner Jamie Woodson's term of service has come to an end, and thank her very much for her service to the commission. She's been an outstanding member of the commission, and we look forward to sending her notes of appreciation as she moves on with her professional undertakings. Replacing Commissioner Woodson will be Thomas Lehrman. We are looking forward to working with him and welcoming him at our March meeting. Before we begin, are there any opening comments from any commissioners?
Glad to see they didn't bring another Eddie or Terrence in, since we'll have 2 Toms and 2 Chris.
Well, in fact, they have to start using last names again, won't they?
Yeah.
So I just gotta figure out how to pronounce my name.
OG Tom.
Okay, today the Tennessee Public Charter School Commission will hear reports from committees that met yesterday, followed by renewal applications, several new charter agreements, and finally presentations from staff. First, the School Performance and Accountability Committee will provide us with an update on our annual report, an addendum request, a petition to delay, and updates on the current school year presented by Director of Authorizations, Beth Figueroa. Then the Business Operations Committee will give us some updates on our budget presented by Director of Finance and Operations, Melanie Harrell. From the Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee, we will hear several proposed policy updates and a rule update presented by General Counsel Ashley Thomas. Following the committee reports, Deputy Director of Authorizing Maggie Lum will present renewal applications and charter agreements for Cornerstone Prep Denver, Lee Neely's Bend, and Libertas School of Memphis. Ashley Thomas will then present updated charter agreements for Rocket Ship Dream Community Prep, Rocket Ship Nashville Northeast Elementary, Encompass Community School, Nurses Middle College Nashville, Lead Southeast Elementary, and Wooddale Middle School. Then Manager of Strategic Initiatives, Dragine Cummings, will then present an update on our strategic plan and our work on the commission's vision and mission. Finally, we will hear an update from our Executive Director, Tess Stovall. Are there any questions or comments regarding the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it and the agenda is approved. The minutes for the meeting held December 2nd, 2024 have been provided. Does anyone have any edits to make regarding the prior minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes reports.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. Before we begin our agenda, I want to again say thank you to the University of Memphis for hosting us this week. And now I'd like to recognize Dr. Sally Parrish from the university to say a few words. Let's see her.
Sister.
Oh,
there
yep, I think she's here.
she is.
Right in time.
Looking,
Right in time for here.
and I was looking around. Disruptive, and I was completely disruptive. Are you ready for me?
We're ready.
Yes.
Really ready for Simone. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the University of Memphis. I am Sally Parrish. I serve as our Vice Provost and Director of Schools for University Schools, which is our state's first innovative school district. And I brought a friend to say hello. This is Simone. She's never been in this room, so she's real excited. Good girl. Simone is our therapy dog at University Middle School. She was funded through the Beyond Ordinary Learning Opportunities Grant through the Tennessee Department of Education and is Insta famous as of this week. So she was featured in People Magazine this week. And then, are y'all familiar with the account We Rate Dogs?
Yeah.
Anyone? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Because I wasn't. And then someone was like, hey, she's on We Rate Dogs. I was like, We Rate who? What? Is happening? Well, now she has like 100,000 likes or whatever it is on whatever we call it on Instagram. So she's the real star. But I was so excited to come and welcome you all back to the university. We are really grateful for the work that you all do on behalf of children in the state of Tennessee. We are obviously huge proponents of students and families getting to find high quality public school options that work for them and their unique needs and their unique communities. We've been doing that for 113 years here at the University of Memphis, and really consider ourselves to be great partners and advocates of the charter sector, not only here in Memphis, but across the state. And so as you all were coming to campus today, I wanted to have the opportunity to personally welcome you and thank you for all the great work you do on behalf of all of those children and families whose lives you and your schools and your constituents reach every day. So welcome and thank you. And if we can ever be of any support or assistance to families, students, educators, leaders, board members, whatever we could do, if it helps make sure that kids are getting high quality public options across our state, we're here for that and excited to be a part of that conversation. And we'd be really excited for those students to join us at the University of Memphis as Tigers one day. I'm a two-time Memphis alum and always making sure we're getting good folks over here upon their high school graduation. So welcome and thank you. This is really just an excuse to bring someone. Let's be honest. Let's call it what it is, right? I'm happy to answer any questions. If you all have any questions about the U of M or about our school district or about the work we're doing, we have some really big dreams and goals around expanding our school model. The legislation that passed last year, making us a school district, specifically says we cannot authorize charter schools, which is probably like a really interesting thing for this group to hear. You're like, but why? But I will say we have worked really closely with a lot of charter leaders to think about, well, what could we do? What would that look like? And so we're having conversations around what would a university assisted school model look like, where it's not a charter, but functions in many ways like a charter. We've also had conversations of like, can we revisit the charter conversation? We know we have really outstanding charter opportunities here in the state, and we want to be a part of advocating for that work. And so that conversation is always still circulating, and we have great colleagues across the state who are thought partners in that work. So just know we're here and happy to be a part of your process and the work that you're doing. And I'm right across the street. So Simone, if you need anything. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
First of all, thank you for hosting us again.
Yeah.
When you mentioned that the fact that you had conversations with some of our charter schools here, has anything formally been in fact moved forward? Has there initiatives in fact are in place?
That's a
Because
wonderful.
if not, we need to move towards that.
Absolutely. I agree, Mr. Carter. Great question. We have had, as part of our strategic expansion team that was informing our 10-year plan for growth, we welcomed charter leaders to that table because we wanted to hear how we could work collaboratively, how we could create capacity in the charter sector, and how we could perhaps imagine a model that looks very similar to us authorizing charters, or in fact could be just us authorizing charters in the future. Formally, what we're doing right now are school site visits with charter partners that are interested in partnering with us. And then we are working on some professional development lab school visits, teacher training opportunities with charter schools, where we invite charter teachers and charter leaders in to see some of the best practices in our schools. And then we conversely go back into their school setting and help them to implement those practices. So that's where we are right now. I'll be very honest in that we've had charter partners come to us and say, we just want to be in this district. What does that look like? And we have not formalized how to do that yet, but we are having those conversations and are eager to be part of that in whatever form that can take.
Contact information wise, how do we get in touch with you?
Great. So my email is my name, sally.parish@memphis.edu. I can make sure you all have that. It's one R. And really, I'm quite responsive. I'm happy to meet with you or any of your constituents or schools at any time.
Super, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Non-charter commission, does the tiger mascot of the University of Memphis have something to worry about?
Now, I will say, this is a fair question because Simone also has a tiger outfit. And so she's named for Simone Biles. So Simone is a rescue dog that was found dumped with her two siblings, Kobe and Phelps. You catching a theme here? Behind a local church downtown. A rescue agency, Tales of Hope, picked them up. And she is named Simone for her outstanding strength and resilience. And but she does like to dress up like, Simone likes her costumes. And so she dresses up as a tiger from time to time. They're more complimentary. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank
Did she
you
have
so
a-
much.
No, good. Okay.
Thank you so much. We particularly appreciated being able to use your theater yesterday. We had an outstanding performance from the Libertas Middle School Chorus.
Wonderful.
And I understand while they were here, they were able to visit a classroom
That's fantastic.
and a dorm room. And of course, the most important place, the cafeteria.
Absolutely.
So they got us started looking at what we might be to attend the University of Memphis. So thank you so much for all the hospitality.
Well, thank you all. You're welcome anytime. It's good to see you on the basketball court.
That's right.
All right.
Dr. Parrish is a great basketball coach.
Okay, in accordance with Commission Policy 1.200, we have reserved up to 30 minutes for public comment. Hayden, can you please let us know how many written comments were submitted and introduce any individuals who've registered for public comment?
We did not have any written comments submitted. We have 5 speakers here today. First, we're gonna have Ricky Gibbs.
Ready? Yep. All right. Good morning, Executive Director Stovall, members of the Tennessee Public Charter Commission. I'm Dr. Ricky Gibbs II, and I have the pleasure of serving as head of schools with Lee Public Schools. I'm excited to stand here before you today to speak in support of granting Lee Neely's Bend a new 10-year charter agreement. Lee Neely's Bend is a school with a unique history. Formerly a Metro Nashville public school, Lee Neely's Bend was founded in 2015 when the Achievement School District selected Lee Public Schools to operate Neely's Bend after it fell in the bottom 5% of all Tennessee schools for academic performance. Under Lee's operation, academic performance at Lee Neely's Bend steadily improved. And in 2022, the school exited both the priority status and the ASD. In 2023, the TPCSC approved Lee Neely's Bend to join its portfolio of schools. Since becoming authorized under the TPCSC, Lee Neely's Bend has steadily improved. For the 23-24 school year, Lee Neely's Bend earned a level 5 in TBOS growth, made significant gains in every subject area, and earned a B on the state report card. Lee Neely's Bend is currently outperforming Madison Middle, another local zone middle school in the Madison community in Nashville, in all subject areas, and is the best option for middle school families in Madison area in Nashville. When Lee Neely's Bend first opened its doors in 2015, it faced an uphill battle, standing in the bottom 25% of schools statewide. Today, just a decade later, Lee Neely's Bend has soared to the top 25% of schools in Tennessee. I'm gonna say that one more time for you. In less than 10 years, our school has risen from the bottom 5% to the top 25% of schools. Thank you. This transformation is a testament to the hard work of our students, dedication from our teachers, and unwavering support of our families and community. Now imagine what we can achieve together over the next decade. The possibilities are limitless. I humbly ask for your support to continue the journey and to vote in favor of renewing Lee Neely's Bend for another 10 years, Let's keep proving what's possible when we believe in our students and their potential. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gibbs.
Uh,
That's fun.
Next, we'll have Susanna Teneda.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm a parent with Libertas School of Memphis. I have 5 children who have all been a part of Libertas. My oldest was going into 2nd grade and my second was going into kindergarten the year that we ended up at Libertas. And now both of them have graduated and are now in middle school elsewhere. But I have 3 others that are in there and my youngest now is in kindergarten. So we have liked it. We have stayed for 8 years and we have really enjoyed the community and the schooling that it has provided for my family. We had looked around at different options with my son for 2 years and we had struggled with decisions of where to go, but Libertas really had provided something that my family needed. One of the things I love about Libertas is how known my children were. The first day we walked in, just how they got to their level and spoke to them by name as they walk in, and they've known us as a family. Having been there now 8 years, 4 of my children, all of them who've gone through kindergarten, have all had the same teacher. And it's really sweet to see how they can differentiate each one of my children and give me input in a way that's super particular to us as a family. Having that relationship and building the relationship with the people, it's really possible to do there. Another thing that I found really valuable at Libertas is just their investment in what they're doing. I think doing something so different and in such a unique place, you can't just wing it. And they are very invested in what they're doing, and you can see the heart behind them and the consistency of teachers wanting to be there and pouring into them. So I'm a great proponent of Libertas. And just wanted to share with y'all. My kids love learning, and that's really big for me.
Thank you, Ms. Pineda.
Vanessa Brown can be here next to Sharita Jones.
Good morning. My name is Sharita Jones, and I'm also a Libertas parent. My kids started to attend Libertas when they were in the 1st grade. And due to my husband's work, we actually moved away. After 3 years, we moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, and we came back, and we came straight back to Libertas. So if that doesn't tell you anything, we were so grateful this year that they had actually added 6th grade this year so that our kids were able to attend Libertas this year. Both of my boys, I have twin boys, they're 12 years old, and they both have autism spectrum disorder. And I don't know if anyone in the room has any children with a disability, or if you have someone in your family who you're close to who have children with disabilities. But it can be a very stressful, very isolating experience. And the last thing you want on your mind is worried about where your children spend a majority of their day. And that definitely takes a lot of the stress off of me and my husband's mind, knowing that they are in a safe, loving, and nurturing environment. The name of their community that they're in is called the Curtis Pride community. And I don't know if you're familiar with who Curtis Pride is, but he is a Major League Baseball. He is a Major League Baseball player who was born deaf. So he overcame the challenges of his disability. And the community that my children are in, that classroom is a direct reflection of that sentiment. They go above and beyond. They have high expectations for these children. Now, on the outside looking in at your traditional school, at your traditional classroom, most people would say, oh, well, this is a functional skills classroom. This is a self-contained classroom. It is anything but that. They are not in a self-contained classroom. Are they in a classroom with peers who also have IEPs and challenges? Absolutely. But what the Montessori experience allows for my children to do is to be able to access the curriculum, the work in a way that fits them. We have children who have language delays, who may have fine motor issues that may limit their ability to be able to write something down. So if you have a child who maybe they can't tell you the answer verbally, but they can use those beautiful Montessori materials to be able to make that curriculum more accessible to them. And that is more important than anything in this world for me, because I know what my children are capable of, even though they may not be able to speak it. Maybe they can't write it down, but those tools, those teachers allow them to be able to access that curriculum on a level that no other school or group of teachers have been able to do. We're eternally grateful for the creation of Libertas. You want to talk about inclusion? My children are not in the classroom all day. They go to science alongside their typical peers. They're in music class with their typical peers. Sometimes they're at lunch, breakfast, music class with them. So they get a peek into like that social language of their typical peers. They get to be alongside them. And in turn, our other typical peers at the school, they get to embrace children who are different from them. And as a parent, I can tell you when we go out into the community, how important awareness is for your children to be around other kids who are not like them, people who are different, so that we can have acceptance, so that they may go out in the workplace and that's not the first time that these children have been around kids who are different from them, who may be STEM, they know what that is, who maybe talk different, act different, do different things, and they can learn to embrace them and love them. The number one thing that we want for our kids is independence, for them to have companionship, for them to have friendship. And at Libertas, all of those things through virtues like grace and courtesy amongst all of the children are a representative, a direct reflection of that. And it's just such a beautiful place. It's been a beautiful experience for our children. And I always like to tell my friends that Libertas is like having a private school experience with the public benefit. So we love Libertas, and we are very grateful that a program like this exists for our children.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Next we have Francis Ginsby.
Good morning, members of the commission. My name is Francis Ginsky. I am secretary of the board of Libertas. I've been on the board since 2018. I'm a native Memphian, and I thought I'd take a minute or two to talk about the community of Fraser and what it's been to Memphis, and how Libertas has helped to change the community of Fraser. Fraser is an old Memphis community. If you're from Memphis or you know folks from Memphis, a lot of old Memphis families have their roots in Fraser. It for a long time was a blue collar working class neighborhood that they worked at manufacturing plants in and around Fraser. You had Firestone, the tire manufacturing plant. You had International Harvester. You had many other blue-collar working class opportunities in and around Fraser. In the 80s, you began to see a decline in manufacturing opportunities in Fraser. Job opportunities were lost, and you saw a dramatic increase in poverty and crime in the Fraser community. And a lot of people thought that Fraser, that was going to be the story of Fraser. 10 years ago, Brookmead Elementary School closed its doors. When it closed its doors, it was the second lowest performing school in the state of Tennessee. That serviced Fraser. Not soon after that, not too long, I'm sorry, after that, Libertas opened its doors. They're location, Brookmead. In 10 years, Libertas is now ranked in the top 15% in the state for special education. Going from the lowest performing school 10 years ago now to being in 2024 a reward school, which is the highest distinction in Tennessee for performance and improvement. For a long time, Fraser, because of the education gap, was a place where people wanted to leave. Now it is a place where people want to stay. Sitting on the board for the last couple of years and seeing this transformation, seeing the continued improvement of the educational opportunities of the community has been incredible. We've had those conversations talking about how do we admit more? How do we increase our access to special education? It might not have been the easiest decision, right? Because money is always tight, but we wanted to keep students in the Libertas community, and so we opened the middle school. One of the reasons why we opened the middle school, the discussions that we had at the board level, was because we heard from families and students that they did not want to leave Libertas. Thanks be to God, we have a middle school that's been started and tremendous interest. We love being under the Tennessee Charter School Commission. Y'all have been just wonderful support to us. We really appreciate everything they do for us, and we look forward to a very bright future in Fraser. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jennings.
We have Bob Nardo.
Good morning, y'all. Great to see you again. Thank you for welcoming us yesterday. As we gratefully embark on a second decade of public Montessori education for Memphis, I'm here to ask for your help once again. I need you to help us further improve special education policies to make this work sustainable. If you look at the data that I provided to you, you'll see that Libertas comprises about 8% of the total enrollment of the Tennessee Charter Commission, but over 17% of the IEPs that this district serves. 1 in 6 children with disabilities in the entire Tennessee Charter Commission attends Libertas. Our students with disabilities are double the rate of the second highest Charter Commission school and triple the average in the Tennessee Charter Commission. And you've heard a little bit about the impact that we're having. We welcome our diverse array of learners into the individualized and multisensory classrooms that we offer. But you can understand that even with profound dedication to this student community, even the best school can be overwhelmed by demand. We have a constant flux of parents seeking our school and other schools seeking to place their students with us. We have a class in our school that at the beginning of this year is designed for 12 children with the most severe disabilities. The class currently has over 17 kids enrolled. In order to sustain what we're doing and keep my teachers doing the great work that they're doing, we need your help to make sure that the most vulnerable children get the right spots. And make no mistake, students with disabilities are the most disadvantaged subgroup in this state. More than low-income students, more than African-American students, more than English language learners. And we're having a great impact for them, but to keep doing so, we need your help. Your team has already been incredibly supportive of us in this process. Not once, but twice in the years that we've been in the commission, they've helped to revise the school funding formula to make sure that students with the most severe needs get more dollars to support them. But still, given the scarcity of resources, we're only getting less than 70 cents on the dollar of what we're spending to meet these needs. I'm asking you over the coming months to work with your team to develop a policy on special-ed student placement. This is going to involve collaborating with other schools in the commission, other districts geographically adjacent, and possibly with independent school providers. There's precedent for this. We did this under the Achievement School District for years. There's no question that this is going to involve cost sharing. That can't fall primarily on you because your team passes most of the dollars through to the schools. We're going to contribute. That's not what's in question. It's about the legal protection of making sure that every student can get a free and appropriate public education, and understanding that the individual school level, no matter how much we do, can't ultimately bear that full burden. It has to be a collective responsibility of the LEA. You all heard it said that this is a slippery slope and it's going to lower expectations for schools. Nothing could be further to the contrary. You have extensive data within the commission and across the state about what rates of students with disabilities exist in different communities and what kinds of services different schools offer. And if you have a school that has low single digits of students with disabilities and not one specialized placement come to you and ask for help, you say, when you have 130 IEPs, 3 self-contained classrooms, 9 inclusion classrooms, and 4 full-time clinical therapists, then come to us and ask for help. You see what I'm saying? You can set standards and expectations in your procedures about what everyone has to do before the LEA will step in. But I'm asking you that when the school is at the point we're at, we need your help to make sure we can keep doing this for the next generation by making sure there's partnership to find spots for those handful of kids that we might not be able to reach. Thank you so much for several wonderful years together, and we look forward to a great new decade.
Thank you, Mr. Noto. Does that complete our public comments?
Yes.
All right, thank you all for your comments. As a commission, we truly value the input of the public, and thank you for your willingness to participate in this process. All right, the first item on our agenda today is a report from the School Performance and Accountability Committee. Commissioner Patterson, I'd like to recognize you to provide the report for the committee's meeting.
Thank you, Chair Richards. The School Performance and Accountability Committee heard a presentation on the school year 23-24 annual report, an addendum request from KIPP Antioch Global Elementary School, and a petition to delay 1 academic year from American Classical Academy Jackson Madison, as well as updates on the school year 24-25. I'd like to recognize Beth Figueroa to present these items.
Thank you. During the School Performance and Accountability Committee meeting, as mentioned, we covered a lot of different materials, starting with the annual report. The annual report is published annually, and it reflects our school's academic operations and financial performance. And highlighted within that presentation, we have 12 out of 13 schools meeting academic performance standards, 12 out of 13 schools meeting organizational standards, and 12 schools meeting financial performance standards, and then 1 audit pending. Within that report, we have we see a lot of green and schools meeting standards, which was great and highlighted as a part of that meeting. Next, we had our KIPP addendum request, and part of that request is that the school will be opening in the 25-26 school year. And during the pre-opening process, KIPP determined that the best approach for opening on time during that school year would be to open within the existing KIPP Antioch Global High School campus and serve students in grades kindergarten through 2nd grade. And so this addendum would allow the school to open with those grades in the initial school year. And it would also put them at a maximum capacity of 300 students while in that temporary facility, and then all while retaining what is in their charter agreement, which is 600 students once they move to that permanent facility. And so the KIPP addendum request was included as a part of the committee discussion. Additionally, the committee talked through request by Madison Classical Academy, or we've also referred to them as American Classical Academy Jackson Madison. They were set to open in the 24-25 school year, and they have initially exercised the right to delay. However, due to some challenges with pre-opening, they have determined that they would like to request 1 additional school year. And so statute allows for that 1 year delay, but if a school needs an additional delay after that, they would seek approval from their authorizer. And so that was what was discussed during the committee meeting. And so with the board, ACE, American Classical Academy, recognizing the need to increase their capacity, they have partnered with ACE Foundation, and they would use this additional time to work on developing their board, identifying a facility within the Madison community, as well as building community support and hiring a school leader. So that was also discussed during the committee. And then lastly, as a part of the committee discussion, were school year 24-25 updates. A lot of items were discussed during that presentation. The first thing was pre-opening process. We put a lot of emphasis on opening our schools successfully. At this time, we have 7 schools going through that process, all of which are on track to open on time, which is
very exciting. We discussed a renewal criteria, which is actually very timely considering we're going to be having renewal discussion today. And so we are embarking on creating a long-standing renewal criteria. And so we will be providing drafts of this criteria in future meetings. And then the student programs and supports team, they provided some updates as far as professional development opportunities for our schools. They discussed the risk assessment and school safety. And then just lastly, highlighting before turning things back over to you was the current status of Bluff City High School. They are currently on probationary status. And so during the committee meeting, we highlighted some progress academically that we have seen the school make. So for example, we've seen them move from a letter grade of an F in prior year to a C, from a TBOS 1 prior year to TBOS 5. But also as part of that discussion, named some of the challenges that the school's having as far as leadership, staff turnover, et cetera. And so with that, I will turn things back to you, Patterson. Question.
Okay, a couple things. First of all, I want to take up each of these matters individually. The addendum request from KIPP Antioch Global Elementary School and the petition to delay one academic year from American Classical Academy Jackson Madison were both recommended by the committee to the board. So I want to go ahead and take those up, and then we're going to take up the Bluff City status. I took a different approach, wanted to hear some more from Bluff City and its leadership. So we're going to do these in order, and we'll take a voice vote on each one individually. Is everybody okay with that? All right, so let's start with this. Do I have a motion to approve the addendum request from KIPP Antioch Global Elementary School?
So moved. Second.
All right. Hayden, will you please read the roll for a vote?
You can do it by acclamation.
Well, let's go ahead and do it because we're going to do all of them individually.
Gotcha. Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner Grissom,
Aye.
Commissioner Patterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Eddie Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Tudor,
Aye.
Chair Richards.
Aye,
6 ayes.
thank you. Okay, next, do I have a motion to approve the petition to delay one academic year and amend the charter agreement from American Classical Academy Jackson Madison?
So moved. Second.
All right, can we read the roll call for a vote on this, please?
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Commissioner Grissom,
Aye.
Commissioner Patterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Eddie Smith,
No.
Commissioner Tudor,
Aye.
Chair Richards.
Aye,
Madam Chair, you have 5 ayes, 1 no.
thank you. All right, at this point in time, I'm going to turn it back to Chair Patterson of the committee to let him move forward with the further review of the Bluff City request.
Okay, thank you, Chair Richard. So at our committee meeting yesterday, we had a robust discussion around Bluff City High School and the progress they've been making, but certainly took an evaluation relative to the other schools in their particular region and neighborhood in Memphis. There was discussion on whether or not as a board or as a commission, we should vote to approve them from moving from tier 3 to tier 2 in light of the progress made. And so in the midst of that discussion, we thought that it would be really helpful for this body to hear directly from Bluff City and from the Bluff City leadership team to provide some color and insight onto some of the progress that they've made and also some of the specific changes and improvements that they see on the horizon. And this is a particularly important conversation for us because they have an upcoming renewal in 2026. And I think that was really important for us to hear this in light of that upcoming decision. So I'd like to ask if there was a representative from Bluff City or Executive Director Stovall, if there's. Thank you.
I'm sure Richards, perhaps I chat every I'm the Chief Operations Officer for our community schools. I'm joined today by Ava Usry, Active Advancement, Christina Austin, our Chief of Innovation. The work that's been done at Bluff City. And so 2 things that I'd like to do for the commission today. First of which, talk about concrete, what increases have happened at Bluff City, what are the things that we have done. and then provide some context. We would say Memphis is a very specific place, and what makes that work unique. At this same point last year, our chronic absenteeism rate was 56.3%. At this point, this year we're at 46.7, which gives us a 17% year-over-year decrease.
Can you speak up just a little
Yes, ma'am.
bit? Hard for some folks.
I get told all the time, now the one thing is I talk a lot, but folks like to whisper a lot as well. So this time last year, we were at 56.3% for our overall chronic absenteeism rate. At this point this year, 46.7, which gives us a 17% year-over-year decrease. We recognize that we still have work to do around chronic absenteeism. Every time that I know I have stood before this body, and I think it's 3 times, one thing that's never lost on me, and never lost on our team, are the expectations of this body. And just because there's a decrease, it does not mean that the work is complete. Shifts and changes that we have made and continue to make are truly meeting the family where they are and understanding for each individual student. Why are you not at school? Are there any barriers that are preventing from you being in that desk each and every day? So our student family support specialists, that's their body of work each and every day to contact students' families who are not on campus to provide that personal touch. Families over time, and I think some of this goes back to, I think about my career in education. It's common core rolled out, I know every word in certain places, but families and shifts in the ways that the students were taught made families where they felt like, I don't know how to help my child with math homework anymore. I'm gonna turn it over to the school, I'm gonna trust y'all to do that work, where parents felt less equipped to do that work. And so for us, it's really about establishing their relationship again with parents. So we're here as a partner for you, for your student, whatever that means. If it is a uniform, if it is a haircut, whatever it is where your student is not at campus each and every day, we want to be there to support. The other thing that I would say in doing that work is we've been very intentional about mid-level consequences as it relates to discipline. But the current attendance manual, absent is absent. And so we understand the proliferation of vaping all over the United States, and particularly here in the city of Memphis and Shelby County. When you build a zero tolerance offense, you use a hammer because in some instances that is the tool that you're given and required by law to use. The student is not in their desk, they're absent. The other thing we recognize is the communities in which we serve, or the communities that we serve. Many of our parents say working class, and it's shift work. And so dropping my student off each and every day at school, if I have multiple students and I'm looking for quality schooling options, and I'm having to stop at 2 or 3 different schools before I get to Bluff City to drop my oldest off, because I believe that they're the ones who are best able to balance not being at school for the full day. If you're not miss more than 50% of the day, you're absent for the full day. And so recognizing that need for our families and saying, and educating them. Do you understand that, yes, I know that you felt like you had to check them out today because they had a doctor's appointment, or your youngest child had to be dropped off first, and so they were in the car, or whatever the case may be, making sure that parents understand this is what absent means. This is what this means for percentage of time that your student is not in class. One thing I would like to highlight in terms of our growth and our performance is our EOC participation rates. Above 97% in every single EOC for our participation rate.
What's an EOC for?
End of course exam. So 10 ready. So for every assessment, our participation rate, so the number of students that took the exam and score counted, 97% or higher for every test and subject area. One of the shifts in culture that we made is educating parents and students. We need you here. Our parents care about their students' grades. So even if they check them out early, it's, do you have your work before we leave this building? That shift that still has to happen though around, just because they're performing well and you see their 10 ready performance. Again, we went from a TBOS 1 to a TBOS 5. Our students care, our parents care about our students' grades as well as our students. But that work to get them to understand it's not just about that academic performance. We know that you care and you make sure that they get their makeup work, but there's this other metric that matters just as much as them being here. I know one of the things that was shared yesterday in committee and that is in the commissioner's report was the comparison of chronic absenteeism to some of our nearest neighbors. I have a higher chronic absenteeism rate than my nearest neighbor comparison, but academically outperforming those nearest to me, most notably Kirby High School. Most likely, if a student does not attend Bluff City and they're zoned with that area, they're going to Kirby High School. Put in the work every single day in our classrooms. It shows up in the shifts that we've made around academic culture. We will continue to educate parents to understand that, yes, not just at test time, not just when we check them out, we need students in their desks. We've also engaged with Swift Education Group to really look at a multi-tiered system of support for our students, looking at both academic and social emotional support. The school truly at one point in time stood at the center of the community. And you'd see your teacher or your principal in a grocery store and it really held weight and it meant a lot. We're at that place again. families look to the school to be not only the place where their students are educated, but the place that they come for resources or to be guided. And in many cases, I know there's some conversations we had around staffing and why don't folks stay and why do leaders leave? There was nothing in any educational program, in my leadership program, anything I've done that could prepare me for the day that a parent sat in the office. When yes, there were 15 other things I could have been doing as a principal, crying and saying, well, I didn't learn to talk about my emotions or feelings either, Mr. Everett. And so we just stayed at home until we felt better. And that's why she hadn't been at school. And we talked about therapy, and I connected her with a social worker. She said, I don't know if I'm ready for therapy, Mr. Everett. And I said, well, you can come sit in my office every morning if you need to, as long as you don't mind me working while you're there. But that's the reality. There's nothing that prepares leaders to go into that context and know how to respond to that, because the solutions to chronic absenteeism are first understanding that it's nuanced. In communities in which we serve and the approaches that we have to take, it's not just out of the box, it's still about personal care for a family. The other thing that I'd like to note about the presentation and comparison school performance is poverty rates. Southwind High School was the one school, only non-charter school performance on the comparison chart. But the overall poverty rate for the zip code that Bluff City serves primarily is 25%. The overall poverty rate for the zip code that Southwind serves is 8.3. Childhood poverty rate where Southwind is located is 39.9%. For Bluff City, it's 39.9. Southwind, it's 11.2. We talk about resources and understanding where families come from and the barriers that they have to face to get to the school's doors every morning. When our kids are on campus, they're safe. We're loving them. We care about them, but there's some things that require them do a little bit more to get there. The last thing I'll say, and this last night I went home and it rolled over and over in my mind. What are the things concretely that we will continue to do? What are the things that commission staff, and that's one of the things I'm grateful for commission staff and the commission, what can we do to support? And sometimes it almost felt like you all say, I will come and do lunch. That's what I did. That's what you tell me. I think our motto for third quarter, or the sort of our tagline for the third quarter, is what it is. Believe in, buy in, lock in, all in. The first things we have to fundamentally truly operate from the beliefs that we have around children and the education that they deserve, and how long that work takes. Right? There's a lot of times we say that this does not happen overnight. We see the growth that you've made, but that's not it. And I get that. And I think that my father was a Marine. I should say is a Marine, because you never stop, right? And so that personal responsibility that you feel that it's your job to show up and do the work every single day. You don't make excuses, but you're honest about where you are. It's not lost on this team, the work that this body has to do to ensure that you authorize high quality charging. No. But what do we truly believe about families from under-resourced communities, historically under-resourced communities, and what it takes for them to be successful? I believe in putting myself up my own bootstraps, putting in the work, and I know many of you are self-starters and do that same thing. But I think one of the things that we suffer from is what I would call the illusion of the same race. That we are all running the same race because we say that we had equal opportunity. Either we look and we say, I didn't come from anything either. Or my family didn't have this, or we didn't have that, but it's still that illusion of that we ran the same race just because it looked like we were on the same track. The difference is, and I was a track runner, so forgive me for this analogy. If the race before mine was the hurdles, and they had to clear the hurdles before my race would start. But if that starting gun went off before every hurdle was out of my lane, I still had to navigate that, where the runner next to me might not. The work that we've done and that we will continue to do each and every day, and the work that the commission staff and the commissioners can do for us, is how can we get those barriers out of the way? Because across life, not every one of us, we may have had the same opportunity, so to speak, but we did not encounter the same barriers on our journey. The student that comes from 39.9% poverty does not come from the same barriers as the student has 8.9%. Do we expect them both to run well and run their hardest and run with good intent and technique? Absolutely. Is that what you expect of our team as the leadership team? 100%. Run well. But how do you recognize the athlete that consistently finished last and has demonstrated they have the ability to perform well? How do you recognize that by still saying, but you're not in first yet? And I think that's a challenge that I, as a leader, when I came there, I was told, turn this building and turn it fast. For context, there were 16 vacancies the day that I was hired. I accepted the job and I went to a hiring mixer that night. We had a fully enrolled school. It was a great start to a school year, but there was a lot of work. We talked about service capacity versus enrollment capacity. The work of our school social workers to address mental health supports the work that we've done to engage SWIFT. A student will stay at home if they had a bad day the night before or the day before. Someone says something on social media, knowing that they have supports on campus each and every day will encourage the student, this is the place that I can go get the help that I need. And the parent knows, like, no, you're going to school because I know that social worker is going to be with you and we've seen results. Buy-in, financial and human capital. We're grateful to the commission staff and the work that they do to make sure that funds make it into the school's hands. What I would say of the commissioners, and I know that some of you have asked, like, what can we do? Whatever it is that we need in the various roles and circles of influence that you have, ensuring that those human capital supports and that financial capital make it to the school. Lock in, stay committed to the journey. If it doesn't happen overnight, what does that path look like, and what does it look like to stay committed but hold accountable in the same way while recognizing growth? And then all in. I'm grateful for the commission team that I know I can pick the phone up and I won't look at any of them because some get calls more often than I want to. For whatever I need at any point as a school leader. When the incident involving Tyree Nichols took place 60 feet from the front of Bluff City's doors, and I got a phone call from a commission staff member on Saturday saying, I'm just checking on you as the building leader. How are you doing? It makes all the difference in the world. But after a tragedy like that, when families are wrestling with their own emotions in the historical context of the city, and there might be 2 or 3 days that they're absent. That's the context of the place in which we serve each and every day. So we recognize there are 4 core pillars of what we're trying to do for our parents. Continue to educate them. Educate students. This is what chronic absenteeism means. This is what learning loss looks like, the number of minutes not in the classroom. Creating excitement around students being at school each and every day. We're heavily invested in, I say the kids at Bluff City, they just love to eat and hear music. They are teenagers to their core, and they will eat me completely out of my office if I let them. But that excitement about this being a place that I'm happy to be each and every day. And then connections to community resources. There was nothing that prepared me again for the day that I saw a counselor crying because a student had come into her office and said, me and my 3 other siblings, we're sharing a toothbrush. There's nothing that prepares you to counsel the counselor and the student in a situation like that. But that's the reality of the communities in which we serve and what those families encounter. So any work that can be done and what we continue to do is connect with community partners, the church right behind us for food drives. Because if a student or a family comes in, the sooner I can get what they need to overcome that barrier to get that student to school each and every day, it makes all the difference in the world. And then add to the toolbox. I understand that you all have to hold us accountable. But what are those things that we can add to our toolbox, whether it be looking at modifications to the length of charter term? Where you all feel confident and comfortable to say we want to recognize the work, but what does it look like for us to work with the legislature to begin to use our voices and our spheres of influence? Because this body, this group, and talking to you and knowing your personal history and commission staff actually have the opportunity to do beyond what has been much of what's been done in Tennessee is talk. To truly say we're going to lead the charge and lift our voices to make sure that if there is a school in a community that we see they are committed to doing the work and it's showing up in their data, by God, we're going to hold them accountable every time that we see them. And if you want to switch me to bi-monthlies, the monthlies, if you want to switch me to bi-weeklies, whatever the case may be. Understand. It means something to a student. It means something to a teacher that's put in the work, the ones who came out of retirement, the ones who could have been at an optional school or anywhere else, to say that I may go to schools on tier 2 monitoring. They don't know what that means, but people know what the phrase academic probation is. I don't mind accountability. Our team believe in it. We've been grateful and look back and can say the plan of corrective action, it made us all better. The way in which you all have leaned into our team and leaned in particular to me as a leader, I'm grateful for it. I will never run from it. The only thing that I ask in this work, right, is that you be true to what you said, and that's we're partners in this work. And that also we all stay all in. And don't stop until we find a way to recognize, forget me as the leader, the work that the folks on that campus have done. Those teachers who were dog tired and still showed up and did it every day to recognize, we see that there's been movement. You're not in first place. You did not win the race. There are no participation trophies. But I do want in a concrete and tangible way recognize what you've done in Thank you all. With any additional questions, I won't do my Mississippi long-winded that I.
No, great. I think now I'll turn it over to commissioners if you have specific questions.
Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead, Sherry.
Time. Could you just touched on the, first of all, thank you for your comments. You've provided insight on a number of the issues that were questions that the commission has. You just touched on the impact of the difference between being on probation, tier 3, and being moved up to level 2 intervention, which is still a significant intervention, on your overall approach and the impact it's had on the community and your staff. Can you talk about that a little bit in more detail? Because that's really what we're talking about, is tier 3 versus tier 2.
Yes, ma'am. I'll go very concrete and then I'll tell you an anecdote because I can't help but to tell a story. One very concrete thing is when we look at the terms of our loan agreements and some things that I think the commission staff was incredible in working through, but some things that academic probation triggered that we could not avoid and not navigate in terms of negotiating loan terms and additional loans. It was severely impacted. The other thing that I would say for a teacher and a student, and again, it's not about me as the person pairs. When I'm hiring a teacher, I'm always be honest. When they sit in front of me, I say, I want to hire the best and build the strongest. But here's what I need to tell you about the place that you're coming to work. If you ever show up here and you don't do something consistently, this place will look like every other school in our surrounding area. I won't say what I said. But I believe in adults doing 3 things: show up on time, do what you're supposed to be doing, stay out of drama and mess. But when you're trying to hire the best, and you're going to be honest with them on the front end, I don't want them to go down the hallway and somebody say after I've offered them a job and they're in their classroom, now you know this school's on probation, right? It doesn't feel good to accept a job in a place where you might feel like the building has one foot on the banana peel. Because it's hard to explain to someone, here's the growth that we've had. At least every 3 months, because usually I will say something to keep from asking me, staff come in, I just everything. Now, they don't know the commission staff as well, like they see them in the building. I have more engagement than my network team does, and they surely don't interact with you all as much with what they say. It's today to day. There's folks on campus right now actively looking for the live stream link because I wouldn't get it to them. Moving from tier 3 recognizes the work that they have done, but it still holds me and the rest of our team accountable to continue to do the work. That's one thing that we all know for sure. Whether today or at the end of our term, if we don't meet the standards and expectations of this body, we know what direction the vote goes, and I respect that. But like
I just ask if you make answers a little shorter so we can get through so everybody
Yeah,
can
that's
ask their
my only
question.
question. I just wanted to kind of get to the heart of it.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Next commissioner. Go ahead, Commissioner Tudor.
Just to go back to the statistics you shared about the percentage of students who show up for the TCAP. So we've talked a lot about the absenteeism rate. Remind me one more time the percentage of your students who are actually making it for the end of year tests.
Above 97% in every tested subject area. It was 98 in every subject area except for one, which I think was geometry.
So sort of a recap, we have this definition, legal definition of absenteeism that's triggered by a variety of things. But at the end of the day, the overwhelming majority, almost all of the students, including those clearly who may or may not be making it to school on time, are showing up and taking the TCAP. If that's the takeaway. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Smith.
So, I was the one that kind of needed to hear from you today before making this decision. Based on what you've shared, and then I'm going to add some caveats to my support of moving you from a 3 to a 2. One of the things that, as you've talked and just listening, that I think we ought to, again, you asked for more tools in the toolbox from us. So one of the things, and I don't know if we've already done that, but we might want to connect them with the Governor's Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, because as I think about, him saying he's got all of these uniforms that they have to clean, is there a church that is already known that might partner to take off that of him, where he's not having to do the laundry and those uniforms come back clean so that he can focus on the reading, the writing, the arithmetic, what he needs to be focusing on, and building a collaborative team of partners in the community to help support what they're doing in some of these areas. So that's just where my mind went, is the Governor's Office of Faith-Based Initiatives. And they've also rolled out a new app that actually is connecting a lot of volunteers that are looking to help around the state. I know the organization I work on, we've already gotten 20 contacts of people who are just looking to get involved. So that's the other thing that I think about through the governor's office of faith-based initiative. So that's just another tool that not just for you, but for all of the, whether it's a traditional public school or whether it's a charter school for, in ours, if it's a private school, I think that's a great resource of just where the community is saying, hey, I want to help. I just don't know where to help. So the only other thing I'm going to say, and again, I hear you, and I'm going to support moving you from a tier 3 to a tier 2 if somebody makes that motion. My only thought is, and I brought this up yesterday, this is really what is going to be playing a core part into what comes up in 2026. Yes, going from an F to a C, that's great. But there's still too much of does not meets on the ELA and several of these things. So over the next few months, whatever it takes, that's really where your focus has got to be, is to make sure you at least are showing that you're getting those to a meet standards, if not starting to exceed over the next year. So just know that before the renewal comes up next year, because that's one of the things that I will be keeping an eye on, just to help form what I may end up deciding down the road.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Any other questions?
Commissioner Patterson, I don't have a question as much as just want to make a statement. And this is really a statement that talks about partnership. It's just not only with Chad and he's, but also at all the other charter schools that we have a relationship with. This question about why absenteeism of 60% surely troubled us. And that's why we wanted to again have the conversation. Thank God Eddie suggested, well, let's do that, because I'm going, why? And we had that conversation. So that was census and why. So we know the problem. When we talk about moving forward in terms of solutions, this is not in terms of the direction I think you want to go and how we want to go in being supportive. Easy. It just doesn't happen overnight. You think it's going to take a year, add another 6 months. You think it's going to take 6 months, add another 2 months. In terms of, I think, where you want to go, how we want to help get you there. So really, the charge that I'm in fact putting out for all of us as we move forward with our partnership is the collaboration that needs to take place in a way where we really do have a partnership. You're not doing well. We need to help and we need to be supportive. We had a great conversation last night. There's a need to look at talking about developing a strategic plan that talks about how we can grow. How we can grow raising capital, how we can go looking, having, I think, a brand that we identify, and how we could look at being supportive in terms of the relationships that we have, because we're a board. We write a check. We look at using our influences in terms of opening doors for you. That's what a partnership is. That's our role, to be supportive, as well as providing the technical support. And you heard me ask the woman, Dr. Parrish, when she came in, so what's University of Memphis doing in terms of reaching out and having collaboration with these charter schools that we have here? We've got to develop those kind of relationships and partnerships. So bringing to a close in terms of, again, moving forward in terms of what I'm trying to really get across, and hope it's real clear. It's a partnership that really needs to be true. With Ricky, in terms of Lead Academy, it needs to be true that we have a relationship where we in fact feel comfortable in making sure you're successful. But that requires, again, developing a game plan. And to that end, this is about rolling up our sleeves to look at trying to make sure that we do that. That's what we're committed to. That's what individually I think we're committed to, as well as collectively. So let's make it happen. Hand wringing, what's past is past. Let's talk about going forward to win. So we got to help you win. We got to help all of you win in terms of what it is that you're trying to achieve.
Thanks, Commissioner Carter. Commissioner Grissom.
So thank you for being back with us again. I want to say that, Chief, is you're very direct, very committed. That's very clear. When you look at the progress you've made, and you have made some, you got enrollments that's gone up. Last time we were together, your enrollment was somewhat static or going down. But part of that, as you look forward, is retention of teachers, quality teachers, and leadership. You're that leader. What do you see over the next 12 to 18 months in being able to, it's one thing about absenteeism with students showing up. I appreciate you clarifying and giving us that number. What can you do that gets that retention number of teachers going in the same direction?
This, coming back in, one of the returning to campus, I know we say that I still serve in both roles, both
Yes,
and principal,
yeah.
but in the return to campus, it was to ensure that there was a culture there, that it wasn't a cult of personality. So first is clearly setting those adult expectations and ensuring that everyone is held to the same expectation each and every day that they're on campus. Ensuring again, the teachers are celebrated for the work that they do, and that both tested and non-tested subject area teachers feel like they count in the work that we do each and every day. One of the things that we've done as a network team in terms of leadership to ensure that I'm able to, my full body of work as a chief, but ensure that the work that we've done on campus holds true and better than it did the last time, is we have interviewed external candidates, but we also began to look even harder at who's been successful in this organization. What were those key traits and markers? What was that key time that they had been with the organization in the work overall? We know that it's 6.8 years. And so we identified who those candidates are that fall into those tiers, and the best and brightest, we have incredible people in our entire organization, but some of the best and brightest that fit those success metrics are now on campus every day being coached currently. And not coached in the way that this is your seat, you were promised anything, it is truly, this is what it's going to take to sustain this work. Let me personally pour into you for a longer period of time to ensure that you have that. We've realigned leadership roles across all of our campuses in terms of responsibilities. We have 2 assistant principals of instruction, 1 assistant principal of culture at Bluff City, where we are very clear on who is responsible for which thing, who their coach is outside the building at the network level responsible for it. Chief Ussery coaches, in her department, coaches our assistant principals of culture. Chief Austin and her team coach our assistant principals of instruction. The director of leadership coaching reports to me and coaches the assistant principal of instruction and the building principals. That frees me up to be able to go into classrooms and support newer career teachers to really expand my impact across the campus. And it's really about clarifying roles. We've done that work already. That was work we did at the end of the last semester. Intentionally coaching across this quarter to those individuals and letting them own their areas and improve. So who is best fit for wherever in the organization or for that next seat at Bluff City High School. So both looking at external candidates, but also being very intentional about who from within the organization may also be able to sit in that seat and do that work. So over the next 2 to 3 months, having some more intentional conversations and some lift up for whoever that candidate is going to sit in the seat next. I anticipate that person by end of March truly being in a way where it's formalized. The name is there, it's in front of staff, and this is who is working into that seat so that they're taking on the reins truly before the year and then able to lead into the summer and really set their vision for what the summer and next school year will look like. And that also impacts enrollment so that families and students get to meet them this year before the year ends.
And I'm assuming because of your leadership that you'll remain connected to the new person coming in, because clearly there's no doubt in my mind that you've made that difference.
Yes, sir.
And that you're committed to seeing that move forward. And that part of your larger role is to make sure that new leader at Bluff City is successful, because that then means that you're being successful. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir, absolutely. You know, my title became the catch-all, so that they
Yes.
can truly be that is my primary responsibility, but not just there, but principals in the organization as a whole, to ensure that they are supported and coached and able to be successful. Bluff City is my heart. Even if that wasn't part of my job description or my roles and responsibilities, committed to ensuring that whoever sits there, even if they wanted to shake me, I try to stay far enough away that they truly get to lead the building, but where they understand these are the things, the nuances of this building that will help you be successful, and you get to hear it from a person who is successful.
One last, it's probably more of a point. If we decide to move you from 3 to 2, and just having gotten to know you over a couple of years now, for everybody at Bluff City, parents, students, faculty, leadership, to recognize this was a significant move, but guess what? It's not enough. We want to move up one more. And so that means we're not going to fall back. So that there's a recognition that this move up it's signaling we're making progress, but we still got a lot more that needs to be done. And that, this is just the beginning. Is that a fair way to sort of make sure that within your structures, understanding that, now don't sit back and rest on this. I know you're not going to do that, but people realize that, this is a signal to us, but this is not what we're looking for. We want to be up here.
So if you've been on campus with me last year, Commissioner Griscom, in any speech that I gave, you've heard me say before we were T-Boss 5, T-Boss 5 is not the goal. Reward schools to go, blue ribbon if we can achieve it after that. Be clear about what the standard is. Don't ever be satisfied with that. So you can be T-Boss 5 and still not performing high active. And so that message has been relayed and will continue to be driven home.
Thank you, Mr. Everett, again, appreciate the comments, and I'm also grateful for my commissioners for making the recommendation that we hear directly from the Bluff City team. So thank you. I think I'll close with maybe 2 comments, and then I'd like to call the particular motion.
Yeah, why don't we, Mr. Everett, you can sit down. Thank you so much.
I do think my first thought is it would be incredibly difficult for us as a body to approve a new or a charter extension to a school that is on probation. But I do think we should honor the fact that they have made progress. And I think Commissioner Griscom, you made it very clear that while we're honoring this progress, that is in no way an indication that this is enough. And I'm again grateful for the hard work that the Bluff City team has done, the partnership with the commission staff as well to drive forward. But I also want to acknowledge that we're about to start the 4th quarter. And as we start the 4th quarter, I do want to make sure that we're balancing what's in the long-term best interest of students with our reality. But certainly I'm optimistic, and Commissioner Carter, as you pointed out, I stand ready to support, but also want to acknowledge the reality that we are in. So with that, I would like to make a motion to approve moving Bluff City High School from Tier 3 to Tier 2 intervention. I'll second it.
Any further discussion or comments? Once again, I want to thank Commissioner Smith for his insight in having us bring representatives in so that the record can be replete on the work that needs to still be done, but also recognizing the realities of what they have done. And hopefully we will get to the best with that. Hayden, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Carter.
Aye.
Commissioner Griscom.
Aye.
Commissioner Patterson.
Aye.
Commissioner Eddie Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Tudor.
Aye.
Chair Richards.
Aye.
Chair, you have 6 ayes.
Thank you. Thank you all very much for taking the time, and I know you're busy. God knows you're busy. But thank you so much, all 3 of you. I really appreciate it, and we keep working at it, okay?
Now you can give them the link to the website.
I wrote the phone last night. They're like, is this going to be anywhere online? I said, I don't know. I have to figure that out. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Mr. Carter, Commissioner Carter. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Patterson, for your work and the work of the staff and the committee on these items. We now hear a report from our Business Operations Committee. I would like to recognize Commissioner Michael Carter to introduce these items.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the Business Operations Committee, we heard an update from our Executive Director and updates on our fiscal year 2024 authorizer fee report, the fiscal year 2025 commission budget, and the fiscal year 2026 budget requests. I would like to recognize Melanie Harrell for these updates. Melanie?
Thank you, Chair Carter. Excited to provide an update about our business op committee meeting yesterday. So first, we touched on the authorizer fee report from last fiscal year, FY24. That report is due every year. It's an accounting of both our authorizer fee revenue and collections from all schools, as well as our expenditures on the authorizer fee. That's posted on our website and is due by December 1st every year. I do want to note that as part of that report, we have seen that we're expecting a clawback from Davidson County, about $1.5 million likely. That means that we will owe back approximately $50,000 of collected authorizer fee from last year that are anticipating having to refund to Metro Nashville Public Schools. I say that with the caveat that we have not yet gotten the final numbers from the TDOE of amounts of that, but that is our belief currently based on the data that was submitted in MNPS's firm. We are anticipating a refund back to our schools. That will vary slightly based on the proportion of funding that came from either Davidson County or Davidson County schools or our MSCS schools. So we also discussed the FY25 budget actuals. Overall, we are running under budget substantially. We do have some increases in benefits costs and in staffing costs due to changes outside of our control around the pricing of those. But we also have seen a slight decrease in our budgeted revenue after the revenue true-up. We are still on track to meet our reversion goals, our reversion targets, and don't see any reason for concerns in terms of our operating budgets at this time. We also just wanted to provide a reminder that we submitted our FY26 budget request to Finance and Administration. We will wait excitedly to see the state of the state and when the budget book comes out, and are hoping that our two positions will be included in the governor's proposed budget and ultimately funded by the legislature. But we will also wait and see if that is also funded in April and update the committee about that at our March meeting and then again in July. I did also want to high level talk about something that Mr. Nardo mentioned in his public comment, which is the revisions to our IDA methodology. This is a funding procedure that is part of our overall federal funds allocation methodology. So we have engaged with our operators this year around making some revisions to that to make sure that some of the changes that we've seen in student need and the weights associated with that are included. And so we are in our final round of feedback from operators around proposed changes to the weights of that methodology and can provide an additional update for the commission at a later date if needed. But we are recognizing the increase in students with elevated option codes, elevated needs across many of our schools, including Libertas, and are excited to continue working with our schools on that, refining that methodology to best reflect the needs. I'm happy to take any questions.
Not from the audience.
Or I can leave on a slow spot.
Any questions from the commission? Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Melanie, for these updates. We're going to go ahead and move on to the Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee. I'd like to recognize Vice Chair Chris Tudor for this item.
Thank you, Chair. The Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee heard an update to LEA Policy 4603 on first and final reading, followed by Commission Policies 1.000, 1.100, 1.200, 1.300, 2.000, 2.100, 2.200, and 3.600 on first and final reading. I would like to recognize our General Counsel, Ashley Thomas, to present these items.
Thank you, Chair Tudor. Yesterday, during the Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee meeting on first and final reading, as you mentioned, we did look at LEA Policy 4603 that changed the weighting assessment to align with the State Board of Education's rule update. And then the commission policy updates were updated to reflect our current business practices and clarify items related to our renewal appeals. There were no additional updates from commissioners, and so I will turn it back over to Chair Tudor and Chair Richards.
Yeah, we do need a motion. Is there a
Motion to approve everything Chris Tudor just read.
Second.
Hayden, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Well, is there a second?
I did.
Second.
Sorry.
Commissioner Carter.
Aye.
Commissioner Grisvick.
Aye.
Commissioner Patterson.
Aye.
Commissioner Eddie Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Tudor.
Aye.
Chair Richards.
Aye.
Madam Chair, you have 6 ayes.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee also heard updates to Commission Policy 3.100 and Commission Rule 1185-01-01.02 on first reading. I would like again to recognize General Counsel Ashley Thomas to present these items.
Thank you, Chair Tudor. Commission policy 3.100 deals with charter agreements. The committee, and other commissioners had a robust discussion on first language related to, request to delay beyond the statutory year. I know that some commissioners were not there, so just to briefly recap, some of the changes to the red line language. And just to confirm that I understood going into final reading, there would not be, the commission wouldn't entertain a request to delay beyond the one request from statutory, from what's allowed in statute. So there's the 1 year that you can use by statute. And then the commission will entertain that first request. There would not be anything beyond that the commission would entertain.
Except for an active dog.
Except for an active dog. Or an exigent circumstance. In addition to the items that I have listed, that they would need to submit with that request, we indicated that we needed an appearance by the requester to appear before the commission to answer questions. There would be a recommendation from the executive director, and we would provide that operator with an opportunity to respond. And so I'll pause here if there are any additional edits to this first reading before I move on to the update.
Okay.
And then finally, the rule edit that is before the commission is to our renewal appeals rule to align with state statute. It removes language regarding the reconciliation period that was erroneously included in an earlier drafted rule.
Okay. Yeah, is there a motion to approve commission policy 3.100 and commission rule 1185-01-01-.02 on first reading?
Support. Second.
Hayden, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Carter.
Aye.
Commissioner Grissom.
Aye.
Commissioner Patterson.
Aye.
Commissioner Eddie Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Tudor.
Aye.
Chair Richard.
Aye,
I'm sure you have 6 ayes.
thank you. Commissioner Tudor? I guess it's me. Yeah, we've got to get these Chris's straightened out.
That's right.
I got that.
Okay.
2 Chris's, 2 Toms.
Next items on our agenda are renewal applications and charter agreements from Cornerstone Prep Denver, Lee Nealon Penn, and Libertas City of Memphis. I'd like to recognize Deputy Director of Authorizing Maggie Young to present these renewals.
Good morning. In accordance with Tennessee Code annotated 4913-121, charter operators in the 9th year of their charter term can apply for renewal for their authorizer. Authorizers shall decide on the renewal before February 1st of the 10th year of the charter term. If approved, a school will be issued a new 10-year charter contract. Today, we have 3 charter renewal applications for consideration: Cornerstone Prep Denver, Libertas School of Memphis, and Lee Neely's Bend. Cornerstone Prep Denver and Libertas are located in Memphis, and Lee Neely's Bend is located in Nashville. All were former ASD schools that earned priority exit status and were approved to join the commission. These schools received a cumulative performance report from the commission, which was based on publicly reported accountability data. The schools then completed and submitted a renewal application to the commission, in which they responded to the cumulative performance report and renewal criteria. Commission staff assembled a review committee of both internal and external members to evaluate the applications in accordance with the Tennessee Department of Education's charter renewal application rubric. The committee gave initial scoring of the application, held capacity interviews with the schools, and conducted renewal site visits this past fall. The committee then completed a review committee report. Additionally, commission staff held public hearings at each of the schools this past November. The findings from the cumulative performance report, the applications, materials submitted by the schools, the review committee reports, and findings from the public hearings are all included as a part of the executive director's recommendation in your record. I'll now take Cornerstone Prep Denver first. The first renewal application we'll discuss is Cornerstone Prep Denver. Cornerstone Prep Denver is an elementary school operated by Capstone Education Group, located in the Fraser neighborhood of Memphis.
Based on a review of the cumulative performance of the school, the additional information gathered by commission staff through the renewal process, including a site visit, the review committee report, and the public hearing, we recommend that Cornerstone Prep Denver should be renewed for a new 10-year charter term. The Capstone Education Group Network acquired Denver Elementary in the 2015-2016 school year, and it was categorized as one of the lowest performing schools in Tennessee. The Capstone Education Group Network worked to transform Cornerstone Prep Denver and has made significant strides in academics, particularly in mathematics. The school has consistently outperformed local district averages, and 5 of the last 6 years has scored a TBOS level 5. A key strength of the school is the tenure of the leadership and staff, many of whom have been with the school for more than 7 years. From both an operational and a financial standpoint, the school and network are in good standing. The network has demonstrated strong organizational compliance and good partnership through their tenure with the commission. The school has operated with consistently stable enrollment. Upon approval for this renewal, the school will begin engaging with Memphis Shelby County Schools to acquire the building, and they have contingency plans in place as well. For the reasons outlined here today and the reasons stated in the executive director's report and recommendation, we believe that the performance of the school warrants a new 10-year charter term. Therefore, we recommend Cornerstone Prep Denver for renewal. At this time, I'll take any questions.
Are there any questions or discussion? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the renewal application and charter agreement for Cornerstone Prep Denver?
Second.
All right. Let's call the roll. Hayden?
Commissioner Carter.
Aye.
Commissioner Griscom.
Aye.
Commissioner Patterson.
Aye.
Commissioner Edison.
Aye.
Commissioner Tudor.
Aye.
Chair Richard.
Aye.
Madam Chair, you have 6 ayes.
Okay, you're recognized to present Leeds Neely Ben application.
Thank you. Next, we'll discuss the application for Lead Neely's Bend. Lead Neely's Bend is a middle school operated by Lead Public Schools located in the Madison neighborhood of Nashville. Based on a review of the cumulative performance of the school, the additional information gathered by the commission staff through the renewal process, including a site visit, the review committee report, and the public hearing, we recommend that Lead Neely's Bend should be renewed for a new 10-year charter term. The Lead Public Schools Network acquired the middle school in 2015 and has worked to improve the school's academic, operational, and financial performance. That has led to priority exit status in 2023 and allowing them to join the commission. While turnaround work is complex and progress is not often linear, the school has seen mixed academic results over time in terms of academic proficiency. However, the school has demonstrated strong student growth scores over time with TBOS levels of 5. The Lead Public Schools Network is a data-driven organization. And through the site visit, public hearing, and discussion surrounding academic performance with the school, it is clear that the network has robust systems in place and has demonstrated the ability to continue to improve academic performance. From an organizational and operational standpoint, the school and network are in good standing. They have demonstrated strong organizational compliance and good partnership with the commission throughout their tenure. Upon approval for this renewal, the school will begin engaging with Metro Nashville Public Schools to acquire the building, and they have contingency plans in place as well. Throughout the renewal process, we've engaged with the operator regarding the declining enrollment at the school due to zoning shifts in the local neighborhood in which they're located. While these shifts are outside of the school's control, the network does have plans in place to increase recruitment efforts and enrollment and is in good financial standing despite the low enrollment at the school at this time. Lead Public Schools is a strong network. They have an operational track record of success, and we believe continued improvement in this area is expected. For the reasons outlined here today and the reasons stated in the executive director's report and recommendation, we believe the performance of the school warrants a new 10-year charter term, and therefore I recommend Lead Neely's Bend for renewal.
Commissioner Smith.
So just 2 comments. One, I just want to make sure it's edited for the record. Looking at what Lead Neely's Bend did, especially on their math success rate, in school year 22-23, we're at 11.2, jumped to 18.4. They moved to the second best school in this area.
in one school year. That's remarkable. And then looking at their chronic absenteeism rate, while it's still at 25%, we'd love to see that come down. They have remarkably improved that. It's dropped 14 points over the last 2 years. So just, want to congratulate them on focusing on those areas. I mean, I'm just looking at the other ones here, just the ELA success rate is vastly increased. So with that, I would love to make the motion that we authorize Lee Neely's Ben for the new 10-year contract.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, Hayden, would you please call the roll for the motion?
Commissioner Carter.
Aye.
Commissioner Grissom.
Aye.
Commissioner Patterson.
Aye.
Commissioner Edison.
Aye.
Commissioner Tudor. Aye. Chair Richards.
Aye.
I'm sure you have 6 ayes.
Thank you. All right, you're authorized to proceed with the presentation of Libertas application.
Perfect. Finally, the last renewal we'll discuss today is Libertas School of Memphis. Libertas is an elementary school located in the greater neighborhood of Memphis that operates with a Montessori model. Based on a review of the cumulative performance of the school, the additional information gathered by commission staff through the renewal process, including a site visit, the review committee report, and the public hearing, we recommend that Libertas should be renewed for a new 10-year charter term. Libertas was founded in 2015 when the operator acquired Brookmead Elementary, a school that was performing in the bottom 5% of all schools in the state. The school has since demonstrated academic success with consistently high TVOS scores and strong proficiency, particularly for subgroups of students and students with disabilities. The school's performance in ELA consistently outperformed the resident district and is a key strength of the school. Another key strength is the long-standing tenure of its leadership and teachers. From both an operational and a financial standpoint, the school is in good standing. Libertas has demonstrated strong organizational compliance and good partnership throughout their tenure with the commission. The school has operated with stable enrollment over time and a wait list. The operator has already acquired the building that they are currently in from Memphis Shelby County Schools and is currently renovating their new facility for their middle school expansion. For the reasons outlined here today and the reasons stated in the executive director's report and recommendation, we believe the performance of the school warrants a new 10-year charter term, and therefore we recommend Libertas School of Memphis for renewal.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments?
Well, I'll just make the comment because again, I think it's important for everybody to remember, this is one of the schools that came to us from the ASD, transferred, I think, in school year 22-23. So what we've seen is they didn't rest on their laurels when they moved to us. They're now a reward school. You look at their chronic absenteeism, they're below 20%, just a lot of great things. And what that really means is that the kids that are in these schools are actually getting the education that we want them to get. So, that is something that I think is extremely important. And with that, I'm going to make the motion that we extend a new 10-year contract to Libertas. But if we can also bottle up whatever Bob Nardo has in energy and pass it out, we would love to be able to share that with the rest of the state.
Is that in your motion?
No.
That part of the motion, we might have some problems with.
Second.
Hayden, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Carter.
Aye.
Commissioner Griscoe.
Aye.
Commissioner Patterson.
Aye.
Commissioner Eddie Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Tudor.
Aye.
Chair Richards.
Aye.
I'm sure you have 6 ayes.
Thank you. All right, that completes the approval process for the applications, and then we'll move on to the charter agreements requiring approval from Rocket Ship Dream Community Prep, Rocket Ship Nashville Northeast Elementary, Encompass Community School, Nursing Hill College Nashville, Leeds Southeast Elementary, and Wooddale Middle School. I'd like to recognize General Counsel Ashley Thomas to present these agreements.
Thank you, Chair Richards. The agreements for Rocket Ship Dream Community Prep, Rocket Ship Nashville Northeast Elementary reflect the amendments that were approved at our special call meeting in December that dealt with their governance change to a local board for Rocket Ship Dream that also included an expanded grade band as well as increased enrollment. The 4 new agreements are the schools that were approved at our October meeting, and we have negotiated charter agreements for them. The commission's executive director will review and approve all of the related exhibits, including the waivers. And we've talked to the schools about those and the mission specific goals that they work on with commission staff as well. Chair Richards, I believe that they can be done with one vote, but I defer to your preference.
I think we'll go ahead and do with one vote unless someone has an objection.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the amendments as presented by general counsel to us.
Second.
Okay, Hayden, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Carter.
Aye.
Commissioner Grissom.
Aye.
Commissioner Patterson.
Aye.
Commissioner Eddies.
Aye.
Commissioner Tudor.
Aye.
Chair Richards.
Aye.
Madam Chair, you have 6 ayes.
Thank you. All right, the next item on our agenda is an update of the commission's strategic plan and our work on the updates to the commission's mission and vision. I want to recognize Regine Cummings to provide this update.
Thank you, Chair Richard. Before you all today is an update in our strategic plan. We have Commission Policy 1.00, the mission and vision statement. This policy reflects feedback from commissioners, staff, operators, and internal stakeholders. We've been engaged in this work since July 2024, while providing feedback along the way. These two statements, the final round of feedback that we received from you all, with a final revision from Commissioner Grissom. Thank you. Before you all today for a vote. I just want to say thank you all for doing this. It's been a long process, and so really excited to have you all vote on this today. And with that, I'll take any questions or comments.
Are there any questions or comments?
What's Tom going to do now that he doesn't have to edit?
Oh, he's got more.
Can we just read them out loud for anyone who's watching? I just want to, I want to hear them. Is that odd?
No, it's not.
Please, go ahead and read them.
Go for it. Mission statement is, as a trusted partner, the Charter Commission provides access and support to excellent charter schools through rigorous oversight, transparency, and accountability. For our vision statement, by authorizing and supporting excellent public schools, we have a positive impact on the quality of Tennessee education, empowering every student to achieve their full potential and prepare for a successful life experience.
I think that's great.
You want?
Okay, all right. I'm just going to say is there and call these. Will all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any nays? Okay, the ayes have it, and these are approved. Thank you all. Thank you. It has been a long and winding road. All right, the final item on our agenda today will be updates from our Executive Director, Tess Stovall. Tess, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chair Richards. Well, Commissioner Smith said he wanted to be on the road by 11, so that means that we have 54 minutes to go, so everybody set up.
Madam Chair, I'd like to limit the executive 5 minutes.
No, that was 11 o'clock Eastern time. Okay?
11:06.
Very quick updates from me, just a quick reminder about our upcoming 2025 meetings. We are meeting in March in Nashville. We will be joined by our new commissioner, Commissioner Lehrman will be able to join us in March, as well as Commissioner Lauren Smith will also be able to be there in March as well. We have our July meeting, which will be in Nashville. As we discussed yesterday, the primary focus of that meeting will be on bringing any policy updates that are required based on the General Assembly. So here on the Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee, just prepare for that agenda. And then finally, we will handle new start appeals in October. And just a reminder, the applications are due to local districts as of February the 1st. So you all can anticipate an update from the staff of where applications are sitting and how those are progressing throughout the year. In terms of commissioner appointments, the late breaking news after this memo was published is that we do have, as Chair Richard said, another appointment in Jamie Woodson's seat. First, we thank Commissioner Woodson for all of her service, and I think for pushing us in directions where we needed to be pushed as a commission and a staff. And we are excited to welcome Commissioner Lehrman to the team. We actually have scheduled his onboarding for February the 4th, and he will get on the treadmill just like everybody else. And then Commissioner Patterson and Commissioner Eddie Smith have been reappointed for 5 years.
I'm sorry.
That's 2.5 each.
Here.
All three of them will go through the legislative confirmation process later on this spring. My final note is, as we discussed yesterday, we've had a couple of staffing changes since our last meeting. Nate Parker is leaving us next week, but
After what he said, yes.
correct. we are just beyond thankful that he agreed to come on staff, I think almost 2 years ago, and just really helped build out the school programs and supports team and really create a vision for that. So sad to see him go and be closer to family. That's fine, you can do that. But we know that he'll be a trusted partner in the future, and we'll look forward to backfilling that role as soon as possible. And then also Trent Carlson left us as the authorizing coordinator to go on to another agency, a nonprofit agency where you all may be familiar, SCORE. He's working on charter initiatives. So the good news is he's not that far away from us. Sophie Menenfeld is moving into his role, and we'll be backfilling Sophie's role around student data and information. I was talking to Commissioner Carter last night in the car just about how staffing changes, and it really demonstrates the strength of an organization when people leave and transition out of their roles and things just keep going. And I both acknowledge the schools deal with this regularly, and I think it demonstrates the strength of the commission is that we have people who are transitioning out and the work just keeps going. So we'll be thrilled to introduce new staff as we get them hired. And with that, that concludes my update.
Okay, are there any questions for our executive director? Seeing none. Okay, thank you.
She kept it to 4 minutes, just want to say.
I do want to remind the commission that one of the things we are working with the legislature is a change that would allow us some flexibility on the term length of these renewal agreements. We don't know how that's going to work, but it's come up several times in the context of today's meeting. And I think a number of us would be happy if we can get some flexibility to have a shorter term as one of our options. So Hayden, your mission is in front of you. Please see if you can get it done.
We're headed down the road already.
Okay, thank you all for your attendance and participation at this meeting. I want to particularly thank our staff and the commissioners who have driven a long way to get here. Are there any final comments from any commissioners?
Commissioners, just one very quick comment. I didn't say this while we were making our vote on the 2 Memphis schools for renewal, but I do want to say I have personally visited Libertas as well as Cornerstone. Those are schools that have been toiling and toiling and toiling since the days of the ASD. And it is just so exciting to see that they truly show what is possible. So when we talk about some tough decisions and things that have been going on in our community, they are certainly 2 shining beacons of what can be possible in Memphis. So I just wanted to personally make that note as a point of privilege. So thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, the next quarterly meeting is scheduled for March 28th. And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much.